everybody. So hope you can all hear me well today. Thank you. Let me know if you have any trouble. Thank you all for tuning into AAJA-Asia Twitter space today to learn more about our Executive Leadership Program, ELP. And I'm Winnie, and I'm currently an Asia Equity Reporter with Bloomberg, also an active AAJ member. And because, just before we start our panel discussion, I would like to invite our AAJA Asia Tokyo subchapter co-representative Erika Yokoyama, our EcoGov reporter at Bloomberg Tokyo, to give us a little bit of an overview of what the program is about. So Erika, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Winnie. Can you hear me well, everyone?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So thank you. I'm Erica from AAJA-Asia Tokyo, and thank you very much for listening to our session today. And first of all, let me briefly introduce the program. So the Executive Leadership Program, or ELP, is a 3-month training course designed for a mid-career journalist. It has more than 20 years of history and has trained more than 500 professionals so far. And the program covers a wide range of topics like leadership skills and personal branding. And I'm very happy to announce that this year, 15 spots will be exclusively offered to journalists based in our Asia and the Pacific regions, and we are waiting for your application. The program is going to take place online from May 25th to July 29th this year. The deadline for the application is May 8th. If you want to find out more details, you can check our website. And for any inquiry, please write to asia@aaja.org. Thank you very much. And now going back to Winnie.
Great, thank you, Erica. So that was a really, really nice overview of what this program is about. And we're going to spend the rest of the time during the session to hear from our guest speakers, basically our alums from the ELP program, to share with us more about their experience with the program. So just let me briefly introduce our speakers before we start to hear from them. Here we have, first of all, Haruka, who is a senior producer and video journalist at the Associated Press in Tokyo. And we have Yunita, who works in growth insights and operations for LinkedIn's international editorial team based in Singapore. And also we have Jayup, who is based in Seoul. He's a freelance reporter focused on culture and entertainment. And his work has appeared in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Billboard Magazine, and more. Last but not least, we have Bernice, who is one of the youngest newsroom managers of GMA Network, which is the Philippines' largest news organization, and she's also she's also a fellow of the first joint U.S. Asia cohort of AAJA's 25th ELP program. She's currently an active board member with AAJA Asia as well. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask our speakers, please feel free to send them through. I believe we have the form for the questions to be sent through. But I guess just to kick things off, our first question would go to Bernice to kind of help us understand a little bit more about what the AAJA's ELP program, what it's all about and how it works. So Bernice, would you like to kind of guide us through?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I don't want to explain ELP by using technical terms, so I'll try to explain ELP by using the concept of balcony time in management schools. So imagine your daily work grind, all the reporting that you do and supervising people as being part of a busy dance floor. So clearly you're in the midst of action and in the thick of things. Now, what ELP does is it encourages you to move from the dance floor and get to the balcony where you can take a breather, get a bird's eye view of things, and really stepping back so you can ask yourself, okay, what's going on with my work, but also what is going on with my career in general. And so ELP provides a very productive balcony time because weekly or bi-weekly, actually I'm not sure what the setup will be, So weekly or bi-weekly, you will have helpful sessions such as determining what your communication style is and how you could leverage that to better manage your subordinates and even your superiors. You also often get to discuss and workshop your communication styles with your cohorts, and you'll be able to be friends with them for a long time. I promise you that. And then a favorite session of mine actually is the influence audit. So in this session, we are encouraged to reflect on how much formal and informal influence we have at work. And this is important because if you don't have influence, you really can't get buy-in and you can't get things done at work. So to me, that was a humbling session because I realized that, wow, at that point of my career when I joined ELP, I have so little influence at work and I really need to, work on that. So again, I wouldn't be able to realize that without, for the lack of a better term, the intervention of ELP. So that's ELP in a nutshell. It's a program that provides you an opportunity to step back, go to the balcony so you can get a fresh and wider perspective on how to improve your professional goals, current work practices, and also career management. So I hope that helps answer the question.
Thank you, Bernice. Yeah, it really sounds like a program that provides an opportunity not just for career growth, but also for networking purposes. And I guess just going taking a step back, we would like to kind of help our audience understand why our alums here who've done the ELP program actually applied for the program um, in the first place or at this specific point in your career. I guess maybe let's start with Haruka, if you don't mind.
Hey everyone, I hope you guys can hear me. Um, Thanks again for joining today. Yeah, so kind of why I joined this program. So I knew about ELP for a while because I was part of AJA since college. So I knew that I wanted to do it at some point in my career. But I decided to take it last year in 2022 because I was kind of in a place where I kind of didn't have an idea of what career direction I wanted to go in. And that was kind of the first time I felt like I was in that position. And I found that I was a little lost in how or where I wanted to bring my career forward. And I felt like I had also plateaued in my career a little bit. I felt frustrated. I didn't know what I wanted for myself beyond the current role that I had, which was senior producer. And at the same time, I knew that I wanted more. So maybe COVID had a little bit to do with it as well because we couldn't go anywhere for coverage or interact with people. And maybe that had something to do with it as well, probably along with everyone else on this call. But that was sort of the headspace that I had when applying for this program.
I see. So it sounds like, you kind of wanted a change in your career in terms of having a bit more of a direction.
Yeah.
Um, Great. What about you, JF? What's kind of like the motivation or the trigger of applying for the program?
Hi everyone. Yeah, thanks for the question. I mean, I 100% agree with Haruka. I was finding myself in a very similar situation, and especially during COVID, I think we had a lot of time to think about, or we had a lot of time to kind of take a step back and assess what went well and less well in my kind of journalism career. And I also wanted to get a chance to speak to other colleagues, other journalism colleagues in the region experiencing something similar. Um, so I think that's exactly why I applied. And also, maybe if I can add one more, as a non-American reporter, working mostly with American and European outlets, I felt a bit stuck in my career, and I needed to kind of air that out to other, I guess, yeah, the other colleagues who are in a similar situation.
Yeah, it sounds like, the program really provides an opportunity to step back, just like Bernice actually mentioned earlier as well. So it's good to hear that, both you, JF, and Haruka felt the same. So I guess maybe let's have Unita to answer our third question that we have here. So what were your, key takeaways from the program?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. For me, I think the key takeaways. some of them that I still continue to use now, which includes really, I remember the first session on communication style and really learning to understand myself in a way that I did not really before, and understand the working styles of people around me. I realized that I was not exactly alone as well from a lot of the conversations and reflections in terms of some of the challenges I face at work as an emerging leader, moving into into an individual contributor role at LinkedIn, but with more influence than before, in finding myself, facing a lot of the same similar challenges and getting stuck and feeling that solidarity. I think I also really learned about the power of, I think, as um, Bernice has alluded to, the power of influence and influence, power, and relationships at work. And some of the tips that I've learned at ELP, I continue to apply every day, and I still think about some of the advice that the speakers have shared with us throughout the experience.
Great. Well, in terms of, how you can apply those skills to your current role, we will actually we'll come back to this question for you to answer, Unita. But Bernice, what about you? What were your biggest takeaways that you really I mean, just now you kind of mentioned a few points about really enjoying that the influence audit class session, and also having an opportunity to take a step back for a wider perspective. Just wondering, what are the key takeaways you've had from the program?
One of my key takeaways, aside from learning about what your influence is also learning to be, again, for lack of a better term, selfish. Our facilitators told us, to turn off our work phones and not answer any work-related emails or chats whenever we are in an ELP session, because those sessions are really for us, so we can grow into our career. So I also learned that we really have to advocate for ourselves at work. For example, we always say that the work should speak for itself, but that rarely happens. Sometimes you have to do a little PR for yourself so that your superiors can recognize you. So those are my key takeaways.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just sometimes very difficult when it comes to, figure out like a way to really communicate for yourself and advocate for yourself. I guess those would be some of the skills that I actually want to learn about as well. So I just wanted to also mention that there are actually opportunities for fellowships or tuition waiver for the ELP program, and you can find that information on our website. So it's AAJA-Asia.org /training/executive-leadership-program-ELP. You can also find that link on Twitter. We're going to be posting that as well. Well, also the fellowship information will be in the middle of the web page, and we will. So if you have any more questions regarding kind of some of the support that we have for the program, also feel free to kind of message us or ask during the Q&A session. Okay, next question is, who should then apply for the program, and what can the program help you with? Let's go to Haruka for that.
Yeah, sure. This question's really hard for me to answer, partially because, we're all in such different, places professionally or personally. So it's hard for me to say, this is the kind of person that should apply. But what I can say is that for myself, I was a decade into my career journalism. It had been 2 years at that point since I had become senior producer within my own organization. And personally, I'm really glad that I waited until I was a mid-career journalist, partially because we have a lot of discussions about our experiences. And I think I was at a place in my career where a lot of the topics that we were speaking about really resonated because I had those experiences in my career at that point. And we have a lot of discussions with other fellows within our cohort. And I was able to resonate with some of their experiences as well, having had something similar myself. So I think, I wouldn't have been able to make the most out of my ELP experience had I been younger or had I been less experienced. So that's sort of what I can say from from my point of view or from my perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Haruka. Yeah, it's just, when people already have some experience and everybody bringing in different experience from different jobs together to share and grow, that sounds like a really great platform for that kind of sharing. What about J-Up? Who, how would you answer this question? Who would be good to apply for the program?
Sure. I mean, again, I'd hate to kind of copy what Haruka says every time, but yeah, I totally agree. I think it helps a lot if you have someone to, or a team to manage, or if you are in some kind of a senior position, so that you would be able to, use some of the leadership skills that you learn from this program. I thought, and honestly, I mean, I'm a freelance reporter, and I have to juggle a lot of different editors and colleagues in different parts of the world and different publications all at the same time. And this program really helped me, yeah, I mean, manage up as well as manage down. I thought so. I thought anyone who has that, who has the ambition to kind of go further and be in an actively managing position, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that would be really great. And if I can add one more, I also thought, yeah, for people who want to, I guess, start their own media startup, I mean, there was a really great, substantial section of the program dedicated to that. And so, and there were so many networking opportunities as well. So if anyone is interested, yeah, in kind of striking out on your own or with with like-minded partners, I thought ELP would be really great for that.
Oh, so you're saying that it's also good for kind of establishing that entrepreneurship in terms of like in the media space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. So when it comes to, okay, I guess a lot of people are most interested in knowing what do our guest speakers like the most about the program? What was your favorite part, Unita?
Yeah, I think my favorite part was absolutely the people in the cohort that I was with, that we were with, including Jay and Haruka. Uh, Especially, there was a lot of space that was given, not just to learn, but also to reflect and share with each other and discuss uh, our common experiences, how we overcome different challenges, and the opportunity to learn, not only learn from each other, but also bond. Was something very special in that. Indeed, I think I really appreciate how they made ELP a really safe space for us to be, open, honest, and vulnerable about experiences with each other, and that just led to deeper, a more meaningful experience, but also bonding. I mean, in fact, the reason why the three of us are in this Twitter space is probably because I visited Japan recently, and we were all in Japan, the three of us, and we still hang out when we get a chance to in the same city. So I think that the people you get to know here, you get to stick with for a really long time.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. The fact that you guys work in different countries and have different background, and you kind of form that community through the program, and it also I guess demonstrates how much of a diverse program it is. What so I guess Unina kind of mentioned Haruka. Haruka, what was your favorite part of the program then?
So I 100% have to agree with Unita on that. The network of fellows that we have is just really great. I think the kind of friendships we were able to develop with the fellows was, honestly one of the highlights for me at ELP, but also just getting to know our mentors and other AAJA members who also ran the courses as well. Just having that time with them and to hear back from them about having them gone through ELP previously as well, and at their points in their career as well, just having that kind of a feedback. That was really, really special for me. And just having the time to switch things up from the daily grind of our work, right? Just taking the time to really think deeply about the different topics we talked about and how I can then incorporate those skills or those knowledge that we learned in ELP, not just in your career, but also in your life. So I think that was something that I really enjoyed about this program.
And so just now you mentioned kind of having mentors. How did that work, and what were some of the things that you did with your mentor?
So we just had some sessions, like one-on-one sessions sometimes, or just being able to like chat with them offline as well if we had questions or concerns, and them being really open to us reaching out to them, and not even just with the mentors but one-on-one with the other fellows, right? We just like reached out to people whenever we had questions or concerns about things that we wanted to vent about our career or things that we were all going through, and that goes beyond the ELP sessions, right? It still continues till today. So I think that was something that you don't really get with other programs sometimes.
Right. It really sounds like there's a lot of value that the program brings. Before we go into the next question, just wanted to remind everybody here again that if you have any question about the program that we haven't addressed, please feel free to kind of ask those through the form that we have. And we are very happy to take your questions from there. So, going into our next question, which is a question for everybody here with our guests, how have you used your experiences through the ELP program in your current role? And I guess if there are some skills that you've learned and you haven't applied, how would you like to use it? Um, Whoever would like to just hop in and start and take that question, please go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll go first, I guess. Yeah, so I mean, I guess really chiming in to what others were saying for the previous question, I continue to keep in touch with a lot of people from ELP, yeah, including the mentors that we were matched with during the program. I mean, there's a startup accelerator as well as the Google News leadership, Google News Initiative people, as well as the career coaches, the media professionals who are really the veterans who've been in the business for far longer than we have been in. So yeah, I mean, it's really what you make of it, and it's helped me really, I guess, widen my perspective and kind of my view about the media industry in general. So yeah. So it's, yeah, I guess in a nutshell, ELP has helped me plan my career out for the longer term and be really optimistic about the future, despite kind of all the bad news we get about the media and news industry.
Are there any specific skills that you think you're gonna apply in your future role?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I guess if I can think of one example, put a finger on it, then I think it's mostly personal branding for me, right? Especially as a freelance reporter. But I guess it applies to everyone, right? I mean, you usually belong to these massive organizations with really talented journalists who are all competing to get on the same page or same, computer screen. And yeah, I guess I always felt that it just didn't matter. I thought the work speak for itself, but I guess other people on this panel have already mentioned this, right? I mean, the personal branding, how to really pitch yourself as a certain expert in a certain field. Yeah, everyone needs a reminder what you're good at, and so I think it's to kind of see myself or package myself and promote myself as a very kind of um, I don't know. I'm losing the chain of my thought, but yeah, in a very kind of easily digestible format, let's say. Yeah.
So personal branding, I guess, is a really great skills that we can take away from this program. What about you, Unita? What was a skill that you are using in your current role that you got from the program?
Yeah, completely. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, I was trying to make a decision at work, and I turned to very instinctively one of the tools that we learned, which was about the 2 by 2 matrix, when it comes to evaluating any kind of choice between two different kind of trade-offs, such as cost and value, or effort and reward, so on and so forth. And that has really helped clarify a lot of my thinking. Uh, when it comes to making tough choices. And yeah, that's one example of something that has stuck with me for so long and is almost second nature to pull that out now.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to sometimes kind of learn the theory or the framework that can be applied in real life as well. Bernice, what was any skills that you picked up through the program that you're applying to your current job?
Just to build on what Jip was saying about pitching oneself, I also tried to cascade it down, to put it forward also for my subordinates. For example, I tried to post about their achievements on Facebook and LinkedIn because, I'm friends with my superiors on those platforms so that my superiors could also see that, hey, Bernice's teammates are really good. So it's sort of applying shine theory. So if they shine, I also shine. So that's what I try to apply to my current role right now as a manager.
Yeah. That sounds like a really great skill. Sometimes it's really easy to forget that, supporting your mentee or your subordinate is also a way that really helps the team grow. Haruka, what about you? Any skills?
So I feel like a lot of, we obviously do a lot of self assessment and, we learn a lot about ourselves and some of the strengths and weaknesses we have. But for me, it was also not just about myself, but going beyond that because I manage a team, just also taking away knowledge on how do I work with others within my team or beyond my team with certain personalities, or how do I tackle certain situations at work. And I feel like I'm a lot more self-aware or strategic in the way I handle those situations now, having, done ELP. We talk a lot about, influence. Someone talked about that, and about power as well. Like, how do I leverage my power to get what I need for my team, for example, or to get what I want, right? And I think that was a pretty big thing for me because that's something I struggle with, to be able to speak out about, the things that I want or the things that I need or that my team needs. And so, I think I took back some skill sets about ways to be seen and sort of tackling these difficult situations at work.
Thank you, Haruka. Yeah, I feel like some of the skills it's like really hard to pick up when you're just in your day-to-day work life, and it's really nice to kind of have a different perspective to kind of help you build that kind of soft skills. So going back to just now, sorry, we were talking about the fellowship program, right? And we also actually realized that Bernice, you actually got the fellowship. Could you help us understand, what was the fellowship you got and how does that work? What are some of the benefits?
So initially, I got the Google News Initiative Fellowship, but also AAJA has another fellowship for professional advancement. It's called the Dina Eng Leadership Fellowship. So it's for mid-career AAJ members who, for example, are enrolled in leadership seminars like this one. So they give around to like $500 to $1,000. And so that money can be used for registration fees, tuition, and expenses like transportation, meals, and hotel stays. So that's something that applicants can also apply for. Maybe we could link the Dine Leadership website at the end.
Yeah, that'd be great. Did you have any knowledge about how, I guess, the selection process went or like things like that?
Um, what they asked for me was a letter of recommendation, of course, and of course my updated CV. And then the AJA heads made me write an essay about why I will need that fellowship and how it would help progress my professional development. So those are just some of the requirements that they're asking for.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, I guess just kind of going back to that, advocating for yourself and for
Mhm.
what you need. That's kind of, also applying to this fellowship, I guess, is a way of doing so as well. Um, okay, so right now, we are opening our floor to, taking any questions that people are sending through the form. And here, one of the questions we've got is, so describe your cohort. Is there any opportunity to connect with the global ELP network? Since, here we're talking about the AAJA Asia ELP. Anyone would like to take that question?
Okay, well, I guess I'll have to go. I'm getting all these flashbacks to the ELP program. Whenever no one volunteered, I just jump in. But anyway, yeah, I'm having a little trouble understanding the question's kind of direction, but if I can just answer it in my own way, I was really impressed by the fact that the cohort was so diverse, right? I mean, there were people that I wouldn't have ever imagined kind of meeting from all different countries around Asia, and in and in so many different levels of kind of responsibilities as well. I mean, it also goes out to UNITA, right? It's not just journalists or currently active journalists. There were so many, depths of experience from so many different people in so many different countries and cultures, that yeah, I thought that was really the best part about ELP, because you throw us any kind of challenges or any questions or any issues, and they're just these myriad of perspectives that that get shared within the safe space. I don't know if that answers the question, or did I just get the question wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, it does. I think we were just trying to understand, what your cohort is like, what are your peers like. So, but it sounds like, just really different people coming from different countries, backgrounds, and work in the same industry. But just wondering, since we also have a bigger kind of like the global ELP program going on as well, people based in the US, for example, was there any opportunity to kind of connect with them or connect with people from different cohorts?
Maybe I can answer that one. So, being part of the AP, there are a lot of alumni who have done ELP in the past, and being able to connect with other people internally as well. Just she was part of the US cohort actually, but I think it's also a great way to sort of connect with people internally within your own organization, maybe people who have done ELP before, and knowing that you have an ally or maybe someone you could talk to who might be a great sounding board for you, or speakers who spoke at the ELP who are part of your organizations as well. So I think that was kind of a nice separate network, I guess, of people you might know externally or internally who may or may not have been part of ELP, and just knowing that you have all of this great network, outside of your cohort as well, that you can kind of reach out to. And I like to think that, most people who go through the ELP, they're nice enough and would be more than happy to answer questions or be a sounding board for you if you had any questions about your career, wanted to discuss things about your career as well.
Yeah, that's really great to know, knowing that, your network is not just the peer group that you have within your program, but kind of beyond that, the more global peers or peers that or members or alums from other cohorts. So I was just wondering if, Erica, you can hop in here to help us understand the application, the selection process of the ELP program itself.
Sure. Okay. So I like to briefly explain like what you be expected if you want to apply for the program. So, um, in the selection process, we will ask all candidates question about their motivation for joining the program, what they expect to get out of it. And so you have to send your bio, CV, LinkedIn profile, social media handles, and if possible, a letter of recommendation from a supervisor. That would be also nice to have. Applicants to the fellowship, as Bernice already mentioned, they also need to write a short DEI essay, and we'll also run through a web search on the pre-selected candidates with sensitive keywords to check their reputation as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any more questions, you can always ask us through the inquiry to the email address that we provided earlier, and you can find out more online as well.
Great, thank you, Erica. Since we still have a little bit of time here, I'm just gonna continue with some of the other questions and see if our guest speakers can hop in. So other questions are like, are there any offline networking events? Just now we mentioned kind of the program itself being like online, and you build relationships across different regions online, but are there any offline opportunities as well?
Probably I can answer this question as well. This year particularly, we are expecting an offline networking event at the N3Con, which is going to be held in Singapore from May 25th to 27th. I'm pretty sure still you can get a ticket online. So if you're interested in that and the annual conferences held by AAJA, could you please have a look at that as well?
Great, thank you, Erica, for the additional information. Let's just check if we have any other question coming in. Okay. Or if any of our guest speakers have anything else okay, one second, we just got a question. Oh, a very interesting one. So we have an audience asking if the ELP program helped any of our ELP alums change or kind of change or rethink about their career direction. Anyone want to take that?
Again, it's me. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to make it short, and then someone else can chime in for sure. Yeah, no, totally. I think, yeah, I mean, it's really, again, if I can reiterate, it's really widened my view of the media industry in terms of what I can do. It's not just about being a reporter on the field, whether you're TV or print or the podcast or whatever. But there's so many interesting jobs and interesting innovations happening in the industry. So it helped me kind of look at so many different options and so many future directions that could be made. And I'm still in the process of kind of exploring and looking at all these different options that will be presented.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in and offer my take too. I think for me, it was an example of someone who felt reinvigorated after going through ELP. I was at that point already applying to a role with more seniority and more leadership, but I frankly had felt a little conflicted inside. There were a few things that I needed to sort out internally. And I was even wondering, is journalism the future for me, or is it something else? And so I think for me, I really was able to, especially with the program's focus on leadership, really clarify my own purpose and why I really liked and found a strong sense of direction in the direction that I was already headed. And I think I came out of it feeling really refreshed and more excited to take it on, and also plus had more skills to be able to navigate the challenges that came in the months after. If I were to take a step back and look at our cohort without like revealing names, I do know some people who came to the program at some sorts of crossroads, wondering if they wanted to switch jobs or take on certain leadership opportunity or not. And I think that a lot of them ended up making the move afterwards, or maybe even taking a plunge that they didn't realize they needed until they took the program. So yeah, I would say that if you're at any kind of crossroads, this is a really good program to go for. But also, if you're at some kind of position where things feel like they're going well, but maybe it could be better, but you can't put your finger on why, perhaps that's something worth exploring through this program as well.
Thank you so much, Unita. That was really helpful. And I would just really like to take a second to thank all of our panelists today to join us to answer these questions about the ELP program. And well, time flies. It's coming to the end of our session. I just would like to remind everybody here again that the deadline of application is May the 8th. And if you have any further questions, you can email the AAJ organization, so AAJA-Asia, which the email is Asia, ASIA, at aaja.org. So you can also find more details on our Twitter. And also, again, this discussion, this panel would be posted later as recording. So if you have anything that you want to kind of listen back to clarify some of the points, please feel free to do so as well. So thank you all the guests again for sharing your experience, and thank you all for tuning into today's panel discussion. I hope you all got a little bit more understanding about the program itself. Well, AAJA holds a lot of events besides the ELP program we just mentioned. We also have the N3Con, which is the AAJA-Asia annual convention that Erica mentioned earlier. It's happening again this year in Singapore, end of May, and you'll be able to find more details available on the AAJA-Asia website. We also have a lot of other opportunities for younger journalists, including the mentorship program, study sessions at the local chapters. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thank you again today for spending the 45 minutes with us to get to know AAJA Asia and our ELP program. I hope you all have a good evening.